So based on who I am, if you know, you know, do I of all people really think there are must-haves in sneakers for 2025? This may come as a bit of a shock to you, but yes, kinda. So I could easily toss up the 2025 release calendar for every single Jordan retro that's set to drop, point to one and say this is a must-have, and absolutely positively no one would bat an eye. I mean, certainly not with the brand new Nigel Sylvester Air Jordan 4 brick by brick that debuted at the event in New York. If I said, hey, that's a must have, not too many people would really blink twice and they would think, okay, I got you, I see where you're coming from. That's not exactly what we do over here, though. That's not to say I was never the person that thought every single shoe was a must-have that I wanted, because I was that person. I was absolutely positively that individual. You could watch previous videos here on the channel. I was that person. I really thought that so many sneakers were a need. So no, I won't be the channel to say every sneaker, especially every Jordan Retro or OG that drops, is a must-have. So you won't feel that pressure over here, at least with me. So just breathe easy, rest easy. Now, I've pulled back on a lot of spending. Some of you have pointed out that you noticed the content change, and I think that's just natural because I'm not buying as many sneakers, which means I'm certainly not reviewing as many sneakers, so you're seeing less unboxings now. Why exactly did I choose to pull back? Well, very quickly we'll go over that and maybe later on in the video, because we have to get to these 3 must-haves in relation to sneakers in 2025. But number one, I wasn't actually wearing them as much as I thought I would when I went to buy them, and funny enough, a lot of the pairs that I've gotten rid of through selling, donating, giving to family and friends, they've been retros because I had an overwhelming amount of retros in my closet versus everything else. So in being more self-aware and just really paying attention to like my buying behavior, but more so my wear behavior, if that really makes sense, the math wasn't mathing for me to continue to buy retros at the exact same pace that I was in the past, because they weren't even really serving the purpose I wanted them to serve. And that wasn't intentional. It was just the reality of me and all of the sneakers that I own. So I pulled back some. You won't necessarily be in the same position. Maybe a lot of these sneakers to you are must-haves in 2025. You shared that. I know, because I see the comments under YouTube videos, on Instagram posts, I see the comments. So I think, just in my opinion, there actually are 3 must-haves for sneakers in 2025. And just a quick side note, at least for myself, there's added perspective when I take a look at the Los Angeles wildfire crisis that's still ongoing and still a danger and concern to so many individuals within the area. So one, thank you so much to all of those on the front lines who are fighting against these fires to keep individuals but then home safe as much as humanly possible. But it does add perspective of what is really a need, what's really a want. When I say something is a must-have, is it really, if I were in a situation where I could only take what was a must-have to get to safety and, you know, be okay and out of danger? So again, that's just for myself, and I do appreciate any nice, kind, supportive comments that were left on that video that I recently posted in relation to donating or just giving back or doing any and everything you possibly can for those who are suffering in relation to the LA wildfires. All right, on to the video. Must-have number 1 for sneakers in 2025, a dose of reality. And I know this is a really hard pill to swallow as an adult, because it was for me too at one point, but stick with me. You're not entitled to every want that you may have. I'm going to say that again. You're not entitled to every want that you may have. And I know you have a lot of wants on that release calendar this year. A lot. Possibly more than you've had in like the past 2 years combined in terms of Jordan releases. I know 2025 is a heavy one. I do. We're not even counting the Nigel Jordan 4, the one we saw, and then the one that was teased as well. We're not even counting those. But I see so many people use sensible logic. You are using so much logic. You're saying, you know what? I gotta be selective this year. There is discernment that has entered the chat, and it will remain, because I may like a shoe. There is absolutely no way possible that I'm chasing every single like this year, not with everything coming out. I gotta pull back somewhere. I love that. That is the responsibility that I love to see. On the flip side, I then see people respond that there is absolutely no way you could be selective. What do you mean being selective and choosy in 2025 with all the sneakers dropping? There's no way you could do that. Our bank accounts would beg to differ. And hear me out real fast, because that's not to pocket watch, but there's a finite amount of money that usually hits your account every single month. I'm not saying it's the same consistent amount every single month, But there's only so much that hits your account, which means there's only so much money that you actually have to spend. That's where I'm very confused when people say there's no way you can be selective. Yeah, there is. Because at a certain point, you're just not going to have the money to be able to possibly buy that shoe. That's going to be the reality for a lot of people. Now, some of you like to let us think that that money is extremely long, miles and miles and miles long, so there is no limit to what you can spend, and that is amazing for you. But for a lot of people that live in reality and that are not out of touch, there is a limit to what they can spend, okay? Sneakers are not the only thing that they're accountable for in the month, okay? They have actual adult responsibilities. They have other things on the horizon, so they can't just say yes to every single want that they may have. So they could be really enticed by a shoe, maybe that drops this month. If they chose to buy it, they certainly may have to skip on everything else, even if they want it that second month. Maybe we're moving into March, and that's when they choose to buy the next sneaker, and maybe they save up for April and May, and then they buy something in June and July. People being choosy is a really good thing. So if you're saying there's no way you can be choosy, I really hope that you are. I truly hope that you are. Having absolutely zero restraint as an adult is wild. Must have number 2 in sneakers in 2025, something important to you. And this is truly for the people who are looking to practice self-discipline and achieve a goal that isn't just sneaker related. So stick with me here. Number 1, to the subscriber who commented, you have a truck. You have a truck in mind. That is your goal for 2025. One, I already told you, wishing you the best of luck. And you stated that, hey, I'm pulling back on pairs. I'm going to have to pass on a lot of things because this truck, that is the goal. I'm wishing you the best of luck. I really want to see you comment later on in the year that you achieve that goal for yourself. But again, this is for those individuals where you have a goal in mind. It's not sneaker related. It's just something that's special to you. Hold on to that something that is special. Keep that in the forefront of your mind as all of these releases are dropping. That's not to say you don't buy shoes that you may want and that you can afford this year, because I think people automatically think I'm saying don't buy anything that you want in terms of drops. Not what I'm saying at all. But if you have a goal, that can certainly keep you focused and intentional, so you're not just buying something because it entices you. It's so easy to get caught up in that. And I remember hearing this a while back, and it certainly stuck with me. The goal has to be more important than the sacrifice or the struggle as you make your way to it. So yeah, you're going to sacrifice a few pairs here and there if you're really trying to put money towards that goal. And that's okay. If the goal is that important, you're going to be okay with passing on some of these pairs. You will. Because in the back of your mind, you'll probably need to pose this question to yourself when it comes to a pair of sneakers. Not all of them, but some of them. If I buy this pair of sneakers, is this bringing me closer to my goal, or is it delaying my goal? And again, it's not going to be all pairs, but if you are someone consistently spending, let's say, $400 a month average on these releases, and you know that you have a goal that bare minimum, maybe it is going to cost you close to $2,400, or again, maybe just in that ballpark area, you pulling back, or you passing on just enough pairs where instead of it being, I don't know, $4,800 that you spent in the year, because that's about the average it would be if you were buying like 2 pairs a month. Maybe it's only one. Maybe it's only averaging out to 1 pair, and now you have that additional $200 per month to put towards whatever that goal is. And again, I don't know the goal. But if it is something really special and important to you, use that to keep you focused. The number 3 must-have in sneakers for 2025, and this is arguably the most important. Think for yourself. Independent thought. You may laugh, but it will be the most important thing. There is so much noise right now out everywhere, and all you are seeing is that everything is a must-have, or I know you guys have to be excited about this, can't believe this is coming back, right? Every phrase you could possibly think of, and yes, don't sleep, of course, is thrown in there. Every phrase you could possibly think of it's out there. You see blogs, sites, everything, everyone, it's hyping up every single pair, almost every single pair, it seems sometimes, that's coming out. And so it can trigger you to think like, oh no, I gotta get it, right? It's gonna trigger a reaction in you to either like rush to be able to buy it or to not. And I say independent thought. Now, a lot of you already have this, right? If you caught my last video, which, side note, I didn't expect that video to do as well as it did. I didn't know that video would trigger some of the thoughts. Also that it did, But I guess it was just the perfect combination of the concept, the question, the answers, the title, the thumbnail, all of it, perfect storm. So I appreciate you guys really showing a lot of love to that video. But more importantly, your comments, a lot of you said, listen, I've always done what I wanted to do in terms of my style and what shoes I go after, what shoes I pass on. I'm going to continue to do that, as you should. As you should. Please keep that energy and have that independent thought to go after what you're interested in, what you will wear, despite all of these releases that are dropping, right? For example, we know that there are so many Jordan 3s dropping. There are a lot of Jordan 4s, but also quite a few 3s that are dropping. So between the Jordan 3 Lucky Shorts and the Black Cat 3 and the Alma Diffuse Blue, out of all three of those 3s, it's a lot of 3s, out of all three of those 3s, if the Lucky Shorts is more appealing to you, if that's the Jordan 3 that really has caught your eye over the other two, I know the other two are more hyped. I understand with the Lucky Shorts, it just kind of feels like it's falling in an awkward time that's not really fair to it with everything else that's coming out in the first quarter of this year. But if that's the shoe that's really speaking to you, get it. Buy it. Enjoy it. I might say wait like 7 to 10 business days because it's probably going to go on sale and not really be worth the retail price that it is. But nonetheless, go after that Jordan 3 if that's the Jordan 3 you like the best. Out of all of those Jordan 3s, the most wearable based on my style and just who I am today, it would be the Lucky Shorts 3. That may shock some people. Just like, we'll finally get to this, the only Jordan Retro that I'm actually interested in 2025, it's the Chicago 1 Low. Now, back in the day, and even recently, I think a few years ago, I would still have ranked like the Bread 1 as that retro, just that sneaker that was... It was more so also for what it signified. Now we know it was really the Airship, not the Jordan 1. Stick with me here though. But it was more so just about the defiance, wanting to really bet on yourself, go against kind of the restrictions that the NBA wanted to put on him at that time. I love that, right? I love him wanting to be a rebel in that, and I love that, you know, Nike didn't you know, they didn't really shy away from having to deal with the consequences of it. But after, I think, you know, having this lost and found, and I've always admired the Chicago 1, the Bread just edged it out. But after having the lost and found, you got to see this a lot in videos with me, you know, it's, I think it's moved into that #1 spot for Jordan 1s. I think it's certainly moved into that #1 spot. And in terms of the OG Jordan 1 lows, I've had the other 3, right? I sold the Royal 1 lows. I still have the shadows and breads behind me here, but I don't have the Chicago. And thinking about how often I choose to want to wear these, and the versatility that I think really comes with the Air Jordan 1 low, that is standing out in my mind as the Jordan Retro to get for 2025. Now, it's also at the very end of the year, so I get to kind of sit back and relax when it comes to all of these pairs dropping. Not that they're not appealing, let's be very clear. I have a lot of respect, one, for just the execution on some of them, like with, you know, Nigel, I think it's the entire rollout, it's the marketing, it's the intention, it's Nike and Jordan Brand showing that there is purpose behind what they're looking to do, at least behind him, and I really like and appreciate that. There will certainly be pairs that, you know, they turn my head and I go, ooh, okay. It doesn't mean that I need to buy them. It doesn't mean that I want to buy them. And you're going to see that, you know, you really are. Because for so many of the pairs that I've given away, there hasn't been even a second thought about, you know, them being gone. Because the reality is, I'll ask myself, looking in my closet right now, you know, if this shoe dropped today, would I pay retail for it? And the answer is no. All too often, the answer is no. I wouldn't necessarily pay retail for it right now. And so that certainly helps me get rid of pairs, but it also helps me, again, appreciate more the pairs that I have, the pairs that I reach for. And since I do reach for that lost and found one quite a bit, the Jordan 1 Low OG, that Chicago, is something that is really standing out to me. So that is the Jordan Retro that sticks out in my mind to want for 2025. That is on the list. I will get to my full pickup list for this year because it's going to be small, very intentional, but certainly go ahead, guys, and just comment your thoughts below on these must-haves or these things that you are have already incorporated just into who you are and how you navigate this. Or will you also pass this along to someone and go, listen, we got to be real in 2025. I have a goal in mind. I need to let that goal be that guiding light so I'm not out here buying every and any pair that drops. And then most importantly, to have that independent thought for yourself despite all the noise that's going on. So if you didn't catch that recent video, Yeah, just go ahead and check it out in terms of the 3 things I think are actually childish in sneakers after 30. FYI, it has nothing to do with you actually being into sneakers after age 30. All right. Thank you guys so much. As always, act your age, not your shoe size. Peace.